Okay, so I wanted to do a video on a potential causal link um, between parasitic infections and ALS, um, distinct from like a brain infection, and that is the use of glutamate by the parasites essentially depletes or deregulates the um, the brain's use of that I guess glucose derivative, I would assume, to it steals the food, which is a neurotransmitter, and it's using that neurotransmitter as a metabolite, and that is a big part of what your brain needs to send signals and such. So as a downstream effect of having parasites that are dysregulating your glutamate levels, you depleting them, or in some cases excreting them, that is damaging neurons in your brain, and that is one of the leading causes of neurodegenerative diseases. So as a countermeasure, the idea that maintaining your glutathione levels at higher amounts will enable your body to access that I'm just learning this and kind of putting the pieces together. But if you have the glutathione levels higher, then your glutamate can be extracted from that as essentially the antioxidant gets burnt up. The byproduct is the glutamate, one of the byproducts, and that allows your body to maintain levels in high stress. Okay. Does this make sense? And this neurotransmitter is essential and is distinct from the base elements I'm currently working with. So it's something to consider for long-term disease, because parasitic infections are going to be managed in the long term, and the second order effect of those metabolites is important to consider, especially when it comes to neurotransmitters. So it's kind of food for thought, no pun intended. I'm wasting. I don't like it. I'm losing pounds. It's not because of that, but it could be contributing. So I'm looking into that as a believable, if not primary, maybe secondary, maybe long-term thing to consider. My grandfather died from ALS, and based on my research, if this is making sense, the genetic predisposition for ALS is exacerbated in specific conditions that has to do with the metabolism of the parasite, the metabolism of the human brain, and the consumption of those elements, or those compounds, rather. So, knowing that, I'm probably going to be supplementing with glutothion, and so just an antioxidant. But when the antioxidant breaks down in high stress, you are supplementing your glutamate. So it might be a mistake. I'm considering, I have the doctor's appointment today, but it's just at radiology for an ultrasound of my leg, and there was like nothing else. So whatever, and I wasn't asking for anything else. It was just said that way. You're gonna do an ultrasound of your leg and nothing else. Okay. But they're not the people to ask these questions to. I have my regular doctor's appointment next week. End of next week. And it's a good idea to probably bring that up. But I know these rabbit holes are in every direction, and I can't expect her to give me a concrete answer, because a million reasons. The accuracy of it requires knowing the type of parasite and your glutothion levels. And if she doesn't know that, she probably wouldn't answer anyway. But anyway, food for thought is an interesting kind of connection between brain disease and parasites, without the parasites being in the brain. Although it doesn't mean that wouldn't be the case or make things much worse. But yeah. Anyway, I'm literally, it didn't start with neurological symptoms. It actually started with muscle wasting, and me thinking about my grandfather with I'm weigh 146 pounds. You know, I've weighed this little as an adult before, but I was doing extreme endurance training. I'm doing extreme oxidative stress training, so I guess it might not be any different, but I'm not trying to lose weight, and I'm literally throwing up when I eat. So it's obviously more than running, because when I was doing endurance training like that, I was eating 4,000 calories a day, loving life, and putting in the work. Now, like 3 days a week, I'm throwing up everything I eat. So the weight loss is becoming a concern, and I don't feel sick. there are these 10-minute periods where I just empty out my stomach. And then after that and profuse sweating, I'm done. I don't feel sick anymore. But I'm basically scared to eat because I'm just going to throw it up again. And no food seems appetizing. So there's a neurological aspect to it where my body is not attracted to food. The idea of making a pizza is like, oh. And that's very abnormal. And I've been thinking of like my dad and how he was craving cold things. It's like that. Like I want ice in all my drinks. So I'm feeling like there's a neurological side, and the neurotransmitter makes a lot of sense. If my glutamate levels are dysregulated, I'm going to be, all over the place. And the parasites are unfortunately there. So if there's a connection, it's probably the truth.